by month for at the non-promoted price, 12, and then by month at the promoted price, 12. Right? So run the regression for non-promoted. And remember, these don't exist in the data. So these are hypotheticals. These are predicted values. So when you see the term predictive analytics, this is exactly what we're doing. We're predicting what would have happened if they had lower price without promoting. And that's how we're able to do that decomposition. So let's run that again. Dummies, interactions, all that stuff. So same regression, just changed my dummy, my if dummy to 0. So this is our non-promoted. We get all the coefficients. Margins makes this really easy, because now we can evaluate over those two prices for every month. And again, this is why knowing how to read margins. Months are obviously 1 through 12. And this is our first price, which is going to be the $8 price. And then this is going to, these are, so the first 12 of those are going to be cases sold at the promoted price along the non-promoted demand curve. Right? Price 1 is $8, and this is the demand curve for the non-promoted sales. The next 12, price 2, is the $9 price, and these are cases sold at the non-promoted price along the non-promoted demand curve. So those first 12 are these guys, these ones, except by month. The second 12 are these ones, non-promoted price, non-promoted demand curve.
And by doing the depromo equals 0, that is making it on the non-promoted demand curve, correct? Not the promoted.
Correct. But we got to set up, I mean, we have to define that, your dummy. All right. The easiest way to do this is to go old school. Oops. And copy and paste. Copy and paste these. And then copy and paste these into Excel. Construct a spreadsheet. So Excel has its uses.
Can you do the same thing, put it in Excel and then put it in Tableau and create a graph?
Yeah. Let's see, there should be one called decomposition. There it is. All right, there it is. So essentially what I did was I took those margins. Notice I put the prices up there. So this is promoted demand at $8. This is non-promoted demand at $8. This is non-promoted demand at $9. And then I basically did the math. So the percentage due to price. Someone taking aspirin? Is it giving you a headache? Oh, mint. Okay. So again, this is why this picture is important. It's like, my God, I'm getting a headache. Well, this is the last day. So due to price, what we just did was we subtracted D3, which is $9, the non-promoted price, and the non-promoted demand curve, sales along the non-promoted demand curve. We subtracted that from the promoted price of $8, but along the non-promoted demand curve, right? Does everybody see that? Yeah. So we do that. And we got 731 cases. And then here, we did a promotion. Which again is, this is promoted price along the promoted demand curve, which is that first row, that first column, and then subtracted from the promoted price along the not promoted demand curve, which is that second column. And we got 612 cases. Then I just took the amount due to promotion, the 612, and subtracted it, I'm sorry, not subtracted, divided it by our initial sales. Sales at the non-promoted price along the non-promoted demand curve. And that's how I got that, oops, that. Now, these are negative, but we said we know why it's negative because those December sales, remember those Christmas sales, are going to be probably carried over into the data for January. So it's going to look like we had a lot more sales than we actually had when, in fact, those probably aren't January sales. Those are actually December sales. If we had done this by 4-week ending period, right, we probably would have come up a little more accurate. But this is usually how they're presented. So those first two are negative, and we can explain that away by it's the nature of the data. What we can do is show these graphically. So these are in cases. We get the exact same graph if we graphed them in terms of percentages.
Is there a way to make that data set a 4-week ending data set instead of week ending?
Instead of week ending, yeah. So since they're already, we just add up the weeks. And here we go. So we can see that December has a nice big boost. Again, we know that these are probably data anomalies. And again, anyone that deals with wine data, Nielsen data, is probably pretty familiar with that. We're not going to get this issue with toilet paper or toothpaste or some other things that aren't going to have these big days. We don't buy a whole bunch of toilet paper for Christmas, and those sales don't get carried over to January. At least I don't think so. We don't. I don't. But maybe you do. So who knows? Let's not judge. But what we can say this is that we've got our O&D, and if you think back to the problems that you did there, you got different results. Promotion is more effective in December than it is in November and October. And surprisingly, there are some fairly large promotional effects during the summer. This was another contribution in the paper, was that if we can find out when promotion has its biggest effect, then we can use promotion as something of a counter-cyclical tool. So we know that for red wines, and this is a red wine, I think this was a cab, we know that for red wines and probably cabs in particular, those sales are going to be heavily skewed towards the colder months. In the summer, you're drinking white wines. But if we wanted to smooth out sales throughout the year, and we can see that promotion is really effective in the middle of the summer when probably sales are at their lowest, then we can use promotion as a countercyclical effect. This was really awesome because I was at a conference and some guy from MIT had done a paper, and he said he found similar results for a different product, not wine. And he said, I think I'm the first to find that promotion has different effects throughout the year, and that you can use it to counterbalance kind of seasonal effects. Nope, I did it first. Damn Couillard. So it's always nice to top a guy from MIT. But then he went to MIT and I didn't, so. He's a dork. Literally, he's probably my age, but I'm not making this up. He collects little Star Wars figurines.
So it's the Big Bang Theory guy, right?
I heard about it, I'm not sure. But yeah, you talked about a dork. What's that?
Eddie does the same thing.
Oh, he collects Star Wars figurines too?
Same collection of
Yeah. That's it? Any questions? This is how we should measure promotion. Decompose, extract the effect for price, get a pure effect of promotion, and here's your visual. Pretty simple. I mean, the visual is the same as the bad way of measuring promotion. We've just done a better job. Questions? How many of you are going to give it a shot? Everybody? Okay. I guess you're here, so that, yeah.
In terms of the regression outputs, do
Mhm.
we have to, make note of anything on that aside from just like the negative price coefficient?
Yeah, negative price, you always want negative price coefficients. Not really. Even in the Oaxaca paper, he included the kitchen sink in his. He put every single variable that's in the data set. But no, we're running pretty simple regressions. I mean, we could throw in a lot of the other factors that we've had in other regressions, like the price of competitors and income and some of those things. So you can do those things, although, and I have done those things. It's just that they didn't make that big of a difference. So, but you can do kind of the same. Well, we actually didn't do this, but we did a little bit. We can do some of these kind of strategic interactions. For example, what if my main competitor promotes and I don't? What happens to sales there? Actually, we do this stuff in I probably shouldn't say it, but we do it in 582 because now no one's going to take it. But we do some of that strategic stuff where you can kind of play these what-if games, and we actually do it in Tableau, which is even awesome because we can kind of click, okay, what if they promote and we don't, and what if you got these, the data set we're going to use is actually non-wine, so you got these 4 main competitors, and we can kind of see how they all interact with each other. And we do it in Tableau, which is really cool. The graphic there is just, it'll blow your mind when you see it. In a good way. But it's awesome. But so you can be as sophisticated or not. So most people, this is probably sufficient. One of the things I don't like about this strategic stuff is we really can't control that. We don't know what our competitor is going to do. We can say, what if they do this? Should we promote to counteract it? And if we do promote at the same time, are they going to cancel out? So I guess, sometimes we do that.
So when we run our regression with the C.dot price, pound, I.dot month, what does the model actually look like for that?
It is basically the dummies and interactions. So it's let's see, cases equals beta 0 plus beta 1, price plus we'd have 11 month dummies. So beta 2, let's call this month 2 to beta 12 month 12. And then we would have the so these are our dummies. And then we would have plus beta 13 price times month 2, and then price times month 12. So those are the interactions. And you can see them in the regression. And again, this is why we don't want to do that, because we don't want to run all those interactions. But Stata is good about that in that it's got these factor variables, which are relatively new, by the way. When we Stata 14, I think factor variables only go back to, yeah, so here's our regression. So let's just look at the coefficients
So
here.
you're not going to ask us to write the model for the regression we're running then?
Probably, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, so here are, again, the month dummies, and then the nice thing about the factor variables is that it actually labels them for you. So this is month times price. Factor variables are good, are our friend. Anything that reduces the number of lines of code that we have to write is good. And then margins is out of this world good, because that saves us. I mean, think about having to do that by hand for every month, having to estimate those cases sold at a specific price. That would be kind of a drag. And you can see how much math goes into it just looking at the margins command. And it gives you a nice table here where you can just copy and paste. Any questions? Any other questions?
How are we turning this in?
Email. So this one will be email, so you don't have to check here next week. Are you guys going to be here next week anyways? If you're going to be here, go ahead and slip it under my desk, but I'll take it by email. That's fine.
And is the deadline just Wednesday, 7?
Is that good? Would you rather have an extra day or two?
Yeah.
We can make it Friday. How about Friday?
Yeah.
Let's make it Friday. And on top of that, how about I buy everyone a beer?
Right now.
Like right now?
Right now.
All right.
That sounds fantastic.
Done?
Yeah.
We can stay and do more.